As you know, they've been residents here for the last 2 years. This is their last Sunday as residents. They graduate Friday from college. And so we wanted to do a little something different. We're still in our series on Proverbs. So we're going to actually talk a few minutes about the scripture in Proverbs, and then we're going to have them share a little bit. We're going to ask them some questions about their time here and how they would like to just encourage you. But Proverbs chapter 11 is the Proverbs that we're on. And if you look at verse 2, here's what verse 2 says. Pride leads to disgrace. With humility comes wisdom. So we're talking about what it means to be humble. How many have ever struggled with pride? If you do, you're probably not raising your hand right now. Listen, I just recently, a couple weeks ago, had a prideful moment that I'm still paying for. I challenged my wife to a race. We were doing yard work, we were talking about something. I was like, oh, I could beat you in a race. And she's like, you can't beat me. So she sent a text out to the kids, and we were like, hey, what do you think? All of my family voted for Patty. I came in and told the staff later what I did, and they all also said, Patty. Nobody picked me to win. I'm not going to tell you who won. I'm just going to tell you nobody picked me to win. But I will tell you it was a short race from the edge of our road down to our house, which is probably 30 yards. I don't know what it is. It's not super far. And about halfway through, I felt this pain in the back of my hamstring, which is still here. Because of pride, I kept running because I wanted to finish, and I didn't want anybody to know that I was hurt until I finished, and then I hobbled for the next week, still a little bit, and I had to go. We were going to my Aunt Joanne's house that afternoon, and we were picking up my brother and his wife, and I had to have Patty drive because my leg was not doing real well. So when you're prideful, you pay for it, right? So that's what we're talking about today. Like, don't be prideful, all right? Don't think too highly of yourself. Verse 14 says this in Proverbs. Without wise leadership, a nation falls. But listen to this phrase. There is safety in having many advisors. Here's the thing. If you struggle with pride, you will not let people speak into your life. But if you walk in wisdom and you allow yourselves to be humble, then this is what it means. There is safety in having not just an advisor, many advisors. You need people speaking into your life. That's what you need. And when we first went up to the college just a couple years ago, and they had this residency program that you're in school for 2 years. The last 2 years of school you do online, but you're also getting hands-on experience at a local church. It's a Life Pacific University is where they attend. I went there. I graduated from there in, it's been a while. 95 is when I graduated. They weren't even thought of. But here's the thing. 2 years in school, 2 years residency. And we went up to just meet with some students. And it was almost like speed dating. They had all these tables. And you had churches at every table. And then all the students would just go table to table to table. And somehow, when we finished, we ended up feeling like we wanted to reach out to them and see if they were interested in helping and coming to Thrive for a residency. We'd never done this before. They've never done it. And so long story short, we did it, and we brought them. And so we're going to start this process a little bit of telling you what it was like for them. We're going to have some questions that we asked them, and then we'll have a chance for them to share a little bit. But in that process, they were excited about coming, but nervous too. So I want to start out with this. Before you got here, what were y'all's expectations of what residency would be like?
For me, I honestly did not have an expectation. There was a little part of me that was like, you guys have seen movies and TV shows where interns are running around and they're like doing paper and coffee and picking up trash and stuff. I honestly thought that it was going to be a little bit like that. I did not have a ton of expectation. Something that I told them during the little speed dating time was that I did want to grow, that I wanted to learn more. So I was hoping for a push. I was hoping to learn and to grow, but I just had no idea what that would look like.
You know, I agree. I think I really didn't have an expectation of what it would be like. I knew doing 2 years at school and then doing 2 years at residency, we're still finishing our program online, and I thought it was, we get to see behind the scenes of how a church is run or all these things, and I really didn't think it would be all the wonderful things that came with residency. I was not expecting it at all. I thought it was going to be kind of like we were always running around getting coffee for people or printing off stuff for people if they needed it, kind of just following everyone around for whatever they needed. But it turned into something much more.
We're playing musical microphones. This is what we do every day in the office, in case you're wondering.
It's pretty interesting sometimes. But anyway, so you alluded to what you thought it was going to be like. So what was it actually like? I'm sure there was times you picked up trash. There was probably times you did do coffee. But what was the main focus of what you actually had the opportunity to learn here?
For me specifically, it was a lot of being pushed. If you know me, you know that I do not like being in front of people. And here I am, again, in front of people. But I've been pushed out of my comfort zone so many times. But I also know that with growth comes being pushed out of your comfort zones. So I was pushed out of my comfort zone. I met all of you guys. Like, we moved to a place that we did not know anybody. So that was a huge thing. But with that came friendships and love and support from the staff and then from you guys as well. The relationships that we built here have been completely life-changing, and I honestly am walking away a completely different person.
Yeah, I agree. Like Carlin said, when it was residency day and we were meeting with them, and when I told them the main thing I want to do is grow, and I know what the Lord has called me to do, and I want to grow in it. I want to grow in my skills, or even just grow in things that I didn't even know that I had. And I think that's one of the definite things that happened to me during residency, being grown and pushed in ways that I never knew of, even in worship. Worship was something that was, for a while, it was like a very big part of my life, and then I kind of took a step back. And then as I came back here, I was grown again in even more ways I could have imagined in worship, and I'm so thankful for it. And even in creative abilities of doing social media. In reality, I really never thought that would be something that I would end up doing for a church, is social media, but it ended up sparking such a creativeness inside of me that I didn't know that I had. I'm so grateful that I don't think it would have happened if I didn't come here.
I love it. Great answers. I have a question. Pastor Scott talked, about Proverbs 11:2 and 11:14. Don't be prideful, be humble, have a lot of advisors, have a lot of wise counsel. So, what are a couple of the most challenging times that you guys faced that you're like, I can pinpoint this brought such a crazy amount of growth in my life? Just a couple little challenges that you faced that brought growth.
I think one thing for me was learning that I am loved no matter what. I think one of my biggest hurdles, I guess, I had to get over was of where if I would either hide my emotions or I would hide how I was truly feeling because I was afraid of how they would perceive me or even how the Lord would perceive me. And it really, I really had to work on, one, knowing that I was loved regardless. And the whole staff, Pastor Scott and I even had a moment where I felt a very much so a certain type of way. And I was like, I'm feeling this certain type of way. And where he could have pushed back.
Judged.
Yes.
Is what you said.
I felt very judged by him and the team. And for no reason, I ended up talking myself out of that spiral, and I was like, I know you're not judging me, but this is what I feel. And in that moment of where I was being extremely vulnerable with how I was feeling and where I was afraid of this could get major pushback, like maybe he's just going to send me back home. But where he was like, okay, you're not judged. We love you. And even in the things that you're walking through right now in this moment, we're not just going to leave you stranded. Like, we love you. We're going to walk with you. And I think learning that I am loved, and even especially loved by you guys, and that will never change, is something that that really challenged me. But I can pinpoint it right now.
Now, real quick, I want to go back to that moment because Shay was in my office and we were doing staff evaluations and we decided we were
It was their first evaluation.
Correct.
Their first ever.
Yes. We were doing staff evaluations, and then I was like, you know what, we're going to evaluate the residents since they've been here. And it was like the 1 year evaluation or something. And so we committed to them. We were going to be very honest, and we're going to push them to grow. This is not going to be your typical internship. They wanted that, so we thought that means uncomfortable conversations. That means correction at times. So Shay was in there with me, and we started talking. And what I loved about that moment was her honesty, because she didn't just sit there and like, oh, you know, Scott's telling me, you know, all of a sudden she's like, I feel really judged right now. And it was so funny because Shay just kind of looks over like, and I just let her talk. And I was like, I understand that that's how you're feeling. I do, I get it. And she started talking, and then pretty much she kind of talks, and then she's like, I mean, I know you're not judging me. I think it just feels like, and then all of a sudden, there's a little tear, you know, and then here we go, right? We're getting to the root of this stuff. But here's one thing that I appreciate about her is you cannot help people that will not be honest. And one of the greatest things about that moment, we joke about it, but one of the greatest things was she opened up about something she was feeling, knowing the fear inside of her was, man, if I come back at him at all, he could send me home, you know. And but she was willing to just say, this is what I'm feeling. And that's one thing that we always want to get to. Like, what are you feeling? Because if you know where you are, then we know how to help you get from there. So I was we joke about it, but it was a very great moment, and it spoke highly of her to open up and even share that. And it ended up a great evaluation, and everybody was happy when we were done.
And I'm still here, so I think it worked out fine.
I think for me, mine would be really stepping out in my calling. So I came here, we joke about this all the time, because I went back and forth between like 3 things that I was super passionate about, but there's a reason why. When I first came here, I was like, kids. I want to do kids. I want to be kids pastor. Like, kids are my favorite. I still love children. I love them. They're amazing, and they're so, so, so special. But then that passion kind of like moved to youth students, which I love my little youth crew. I love you guys. But the reason that I was bouncing back and forth between things is because of my confidence. I have always been very organized, and I love planning. I love it. Calendar, count me in. I will do that all day long. I love it so much. But for some reason, I had always thought that administrative duties and tasks, it wasn't ministry. And I knew that I was called to ministry, but I was like, no, ministry, like you're up in front of people, like you're talking, you're preaching, you're leading worship, like you're doing something of that sort. But that is not at all what I felt. I don't feel the need to come up here and preach or anything, but what I do feel the pull and the call to is to help organize the stuff behind the scenes. And I really had to take a moment and to step out in that and be more confident and build that confidence up with that.
All right, that's one example of something that you learned about yourself. Can you give us 2 more items of something that you learned about yourself that you had no clue that we kind of helped walk you through, whatever that would be? But yeah, to kind of share that portion of things, because it wasn't just those 2 items that you learned about yourself.
Something that I learned about myself that I didn't truly know was how valued I am. I grew up in a home that was not very emotionally healthy. We went through a huge battle when I was a kid, and there was just not a lot of, hey, I love you so much. Hey, let me give you a hug. There was none of that. And I thought that it was all because of me. I thought it was my fault. So I grew up a lot with just a sense of no value. And whenever I went to school, you can ask Lizzie, I was an anxiety mess. I would stay in my room. I would not come out because I didn't think that people liked me. I didn't think that I was worthy enough for people to try to have a relationship with me or to want to be my friend. But being here, Pastor Scott loves to call you into his office, and he loves to ask you, what are you feeling? Okay, let's dig a little bit deeper. Let's get to the root of that. And through that, I really, truly learned how valuable I am. I'm not valuable in what I do, but I'm valuable in who God made me to be. And I'm valuable because I am a child of God. So if you feel like that, know that you are valuable. Know that you have a value inside of you because God chose you.
I would say for me, one of the biggest things I learned about myself was coming here. I put my identity in so many of the wrong things. I put my identity a lot in what people thought of me. And I can be very much, I've worked on it, but I can still be very much of a people pleaser. Like, I love people so much. I love being around them. If you guys couldn't tell, I'm definitely an extrovert. I love being around people. And what I found was a lot of times I would constantly just think about, oh, do they like me? Do they like me? Do they like? And I would make decisions, or I would do things just to make sure that people did like me or that someone did. And the way that when your identity is not grounded and rooted in Jesus, the way that can just shift everything. And so, again, like Carlin said, Pastor Scott loves to call you into his office and be like, so why do you care so much about this? Or like dig a little deeper as to why. And I found that my identity was just not rooted in Jesus and what he says I am and who I am. And so as throughout this time of residency, I was able to really, it took a long time of really digging really deep, and in certain situations, if a situation someone hurt me, it would be like, why does this bother me? Because my identity and my worth of living was in what this person said or what this person did. But when that foundation of my identity is founded in Jesus Christ, when I tell you that shifts your whole entire perspective. And I still, none of us are perfect. Like, I still definitely struggle with it at times, but I'm able to identify it, and I think I'm able to switch around my mind so much more quickly than I used to. And yeah.
All right, before we go to the next question, remember where we started with Proverbs 11. There is strength and safety in the multitude of counsel. And this isn't a bragging on me and Shay and Chris. This is a bragging on these two girls who, the very reason we even approached them about coming, because both of them, when we talked to them at our table during the speed dating moment, or whatever you call it, the residency thing, they both mentioned this. They said, I just want to learn. And when you have people that are teachable, it's amazing what happens. For us, even in our lives as Christians, I've been in ministry now 31 years, and I still need to make sure that I'm teachable. We always have to be teachable. They would not have, God could have done things different ways, but they would not have gotten where they are today without the heart that says, I want to grow, I want to learn. And by not walking in pride and walking in humility and saying, there was 3 of us in the office every day that could speak into their life. However, there's also a bunch of you out there who have spoken into their life. So this isn't a staff thing. This is a Thrive thing. And I say it because I want us to celebrate. We lived out our vision with these 2 girls. We embraced them when they came here. We embraced them when they felt like they were being judged. I'm just kidding. We encourage them, and we have equipped and empowered them. And all the things that they're doing and experiencing, even what's coming ahead for them, is a result of you and us that have together helped shape and bring out what God has put inside of them. But they made the decision, I want to learn. And this is the challenge to us. This is the take-home moment for all of us. You need advisors in your life. Not people that are coming to try to tell you stuff. People that you say, hey, talk to me. What do you see? As a staff, we do that with each other. We don't make a lot of one-man decisions or one-woman decisions. We make decisions like, hey, what do you think? That's what's healthy, and that's what made part of this healthy. So on the individual side, there was a lot of things, and they could share more, but there's a lot of things that they grew in, that they found out about themselves, and they've worked on. And these two girls are totally different people than they were 2 years ago. So much more healthier and mature. Now, they weren't bad 2 years ago, but they've grown and matured because of a heart that says, I want to learn, I want to grow. So as far as, because both of you were at the college wanting to be involved in ministry, knowing admin, organization, that's part of ministry too. But on not just a individual thing, but what have you learned as far as leadership and serving? Like, what have you learned just from being in the role? Because you guys weren't just interns. You were leading things. You were helping with different ministries. So you've been a lot more active. What have you learned when it comes to being in any type of serving or leading role?
Something that I learned and grew with a leadership standpoint is people over policy. I am somebody who loves to have a to-do list, and I love to check off all my boxes. It's just my administrative brain. It's my crazy brain, as I like to say. But with that, I can stop for a moment and not put people first. There have been instances where I have been trying to run around and do my thing, and I don't put people first. But I know that as a leader, it is important. Hey, you need to check in on somebody. Hey, if you're walking to go do a task, say hi. Give somebody a hug. Give a handshake. Do any of those things. But it's so, so, so important to stop and say hi to people, to smile, to make sure that they're okay before doing that task. And I have grown in that, which I'm very thankful to say. But it was something that was really, really hard for me at first. Not because I don't love you guys. It's just my brain is just wired different.
I would say for me, in areas of where I was able to serve and lead, I think one of the biggest things was having confidence not only in the Lord, but then also confidence in myself and that I could do it. I think there's definitely a healthy side of knowing of the gifts that the Lord has created you in and being able to walk boldly and faithfully in those. And a lot of times, in whether it was worship, whether it was youth worship, or whichever, I really had to step into this confidence of where, no, like, the Lord created me this way. He gave me this talent and ability, and so I'm able to walk boldly and confidently in that. Now, granted, again, I'm not perfect. I definitely had moments where I was like, I just don't think I'm just called to do this, and it's just a whole thing. But as I've been able to walk and grow more, and just thank you to everyone who's allowed me to step into those roles to lead, I'm so entirely grateful because I'm able to be this person that's standing in front of you today, of where my confidence is in Christ. And so I'm able to walk boldly and faithfully in what he's called me to do, and what other people may say, or even sometimes what the enemy will speak into my mind actually has no power or authority of what I do, because I know what Jesus says about me.
That's so good, and it's been so cool to see, like, get a front row seat 5 days a week at just what the Lord has been doing in your guys' life, and just how you've grown. And there's been challenging moments, there's been moments of correction, of coaching, of growth, of, like, realization of, like, oh, Lord, this is what it is, and, like, this is what it's about. And it's been so cool. And with all of that, it's not just been every day crying in Pastor Scott's office, even though it's, majority of the days, I would say. But it's not been this everyday just, we have a lot of fun together. Like, we laugh a lot. So obviously I'm the one asking this question. Can you guys each share, like, what one of your favorite experiences, or, like, one of your funnest memories, like, that you look back and just, like, you just giggle at? You're like, oh my gosh, that was so much fun. Like, if you guys want to share 1 to 2, each of you, because we do have fun. I mean, do you know who our senior pastor is? Of course we have fun.
I mean, yeah, like, one of the first biggest things that Pastor Scott taught me is if you're not having fun in ministry, you're not doing it right. And when he told, I was like, oh, like, okay, like, yeah, no, ministry, and he definitely showed us that ministry was so much fun. Man, I'm trying to think of one, like, any time that we would go out for staff lunches or anything like that was always a party, even if it wasn't planned. And then, like, the car rides there, we're just always having such laughs and giggles. I'm trying to think of one specific time. How about Carly, you go, and then I'll think of one.
One moment that was just so funny to me. Me, Shay, and Lizzie went to youth camp this past summer with the girls, and we, for some reason, were the biggest giggly boxes for no reason. I think we were just so sleep deprived, and we were just emotional, but for some reason, we could not stop laughing. Like, we would just say, like, hey, we would all just lose it. We were just crying, laughing, just sitting there waiting for the girls to take showers so that we could all go to bed. We were just sitting there and laughing our heads off for no reason at all. So that was pretty fun, but we also have so much fun with Pastor Scott and Chris too. I remember one of our early fun memories. We have these like little dollies that you carry. It's like a little square dolly that you move furniture with. And Pastor Scott had me and Lizzie stand on them, and he dragged us through the hallway. So we got to ride on the dolly as we went down in the hallway, which was so much fun.
Yeah, oh my gosh, that moving us on the dolly, it was just so random, and it was just like, what, and he's just like, just get on, and then he just drags us through the church. I think, honestly, one memory, like, about, like, I have so many memories with the staff, but one memory with you guys, like, as Thrivers, was actually one of the first times that we visited, and where we were sitting in those two seats there, and of where this is, I didn't know that this is who Thrive was yet, but you guys were such an embracing church, and of where I remember we were just sitting right there, and we're during greeting time, we didn't have to move because all of you guys just came and greeted us at once, and we were like, oh my gosh, like, this is exactly of who Thrive is. But it was just so welcoming. It was afterwards on the drive home, I remember telling Carlin, like, did we move from our seats at all that whole entire time? And she was like, I don't think we did. And we met so many people that day. And I think that will forever be one of my favorite memories because we just got a front row seat so early on as to who Thrive was. And you guys showed us, you guys didn't even know us yet, and we were already so loved. And that will forever be one of my favorite memories.
Nice. All right, real quick. Nice. Real quick, me and Chris have those moments where we just cry together and laugh too. Like, me and Chris,
Did you also eat like 50
Yeah.
Slim Jims at 1 a.m. and cry laughing?
Oh yeah. So, although your residency is wrapping up, if you could share anything, you just take a couple of minutes each and share. What would you like to share with Thrive in your last Sunday as residents? I will go ahead and tell you they're still gonna be around. So is that good news? That's good news. All right, go ahead.
I'll go first. I honestly just want to say first, thank you guys. Thank you for being so open, being so welcoming to us. Or I will speak personally. I know that you'll agree with everything that I say, but I'm going to talk for myself. Thank you for being so opening and welcoming to me. And I don't even want to say thank you for, like, taking a chance on me, but thank you for even seeing the talents and abilities that the Lord has created me in and allowing me to grow in them, allowing me to make mistakes, and thank you for still loving me. I'm exactly the same. Thank you for just I look out and see all the faces, and I'm just remembering of how I met each and every one of you, and I'm just so grateful for how each of you guys have poured into my life. Like, I'm looking, and I don't see one person that has not poured into my life some way or another. And so I just want to thank you guys. One, I guess, piece of encouragement that I can give from this time is always be open to grow and to learn. We will never know enough. I think that's correct. Yeah, we'll never know enough. There's always something that we can grow and learn and more. And when you have that heart of just openness, and it doesn't even have to be from, from people that you surround yourself with, be open to them speaking into your life, but also being open to what the Lord wants you to grow in, and just being aware of how His Spirit wants to move throughout you, and also just follow Him. I think one of the biggest things in my journey of even moving to college or even just my whole life, moving to North Carolina and everything that I'm doing afterwards is just trust him and trust the path that he has set out. You just take it step by step. You don't have to have your whole plan, your whole life planned out. Some people love to plan, like Carlin does. Some people love to, and it's not a bad thing, but just also in the midst of your plan, allow the Lord to still guide you and take you to where he wants you to go. And when you have that openness, I think that he's just going to do great and incredible things in your lives. So, yeah.
I would just encourage you guys to be lifelong learners. We talk about it a lot as we're wrapping up with school is how can you continue to be a lifelong learner? How can you find those people in your life who will continue to pour into you? Who are those people that you can be like, hey, will you just pray with me today? Will you just send me a verse whenever you think of it? Those people are so, so important to have in your life. And I know that each of you are more than willing to reach out to somebody and help them in a time of need. And that's something that I'm so grateful for is because you guys have been a church that has been very good at embracing people in the moments where they are struggling or even when they're happy. You embrace them no matter what, and that's so amazing. So I just want to encourage you guys and thank you guys for doing that, but encourage you guys to not stop because it is so, so important, and you have no idea how many people's lives that you've touched by smiling at them or giving them a hug.
All right, thank you. Just as a heads up, this is where the future looks like for each of them. I'm going to go ahead and tell you. It's right off the press, kind of. But Carlin is going to hang around here and help with admin and administration and organization. If you guys know me, for those that have been here a long time, that is not my gift set. Typically, I'm just like, if you're asking me what I'm preaching on in 3 weeks, I said, I'm not sure, but I know what I'm preaching on Sunday. Like, but all of us, even church-wide, like she's got our church calendar. Like, I mean, it's accurate. It's up to date. It's color coordinated. And she's really helping to administrate a lot of stuff. Matter of fact, if you're involved in any of the Sunday service, she made sure all the microphones are where they need to be. She makes sure that all the service flow for Sunday is happening. She's already doing a lot of that as a resident, but she's going to hang around here and keep doing that. So you'll see her. Lizzie is also staying around, but she's going to be working full-time for Brandon, and my honest mechanic. Brandon is... That's as high as I've seen his hands even in worship. So he is really feeling it right now. But she already works there part-time and does a great job, and it's been a good fit. So she's going to continue there. But they're both decided that they want to stay in Concord. They want to stay here. They want to stay part of Thrive. Hey, all our loving on them has resulted in them wanting to stay around. But I also just want to thank all of you for the way you have embraced them. And it's just been a great thing for the church. It's been a great thing for us as a staff. They brought a good perspective as young people to help us see things even in a different light. And so it's good to have them around. And I'm glad they're still going to be around for the future. And so a lot of good things are happening. So we want to pray over them and just make sure that we send them out as far as residents. It's over now. They're just people. Lizzie told me this morning, I can sleep in next Sunday. I don't have to be here as early as what you have to be here as a resident. So she'll be rolling in about 9:45. But she's excited. And so they're graduating this Friday. So some of us are driving up to Virginia to watch that. But I would encourage you, too, if you want to do anything, slip them some cash, do whatever. I'm sure they'll be grateful for that. And so they'll be good. All right, anything else?
I want to surprise, I want to talk a little bit more. But I do just want to thank Pastor Shay, Pastor Scott, and Pastor Chris for these past 2 years have been incredible. Thank you for, like I said here, thank you for taking a chance on us. Thank you for choosing us. As much as, yes, it was our choice, to come here and to learn, but thank you for choosing us and for wanting to pour into our lives. I am the person that I am today because of you three, and I'm so thankful. I have such special memories with each and every one of you, and it makes me really sad that this is my last Sunday as a resident, but I'm still so thankful that I'll get to see you guys still every Sunday. And I'll probably show up at the office at random times, but but I am still just so grateful for each and every one of you, and thank you for all that you have done. And I love each and every one of you, so thank you.
Yes, thank you guys for all of the dedication and the love that you've poured into us. It's changed us way more than what I think that you guys will ever understand or know. So thank you so much.